speaker.
Oh, sorry. Strange matters, dark matters. It is a peaceful day with a hum in the forest from everything busy to make the most before the rains come again. The sky is milky with a thin sheet of cloud, the kind like a brush has dappled it, a benevolent cloud, and the eagles are capitalising on the vantage before they can't see again. They hang over the cloud like mobiles. I have spent an inordinate amount of time just looking, standing at the open windows of the tower and looking out at all the stuff just gathered beneath me for contemplation. You can't see a lot from the fire tower, and a lot can't see you. The trees have grown tall around it now from years of its disuse. Before you might have seen it from all over. Only from the mountain could you see everything. But what I can see is still a lot. I can see the ocean of trees, and I can see it on and on to its edge. Boreal forest, the world's lungs. Sometimes, in the morning, a mist hangs over and obscures like chalk smudge, and it strikes you vividly that this is its breathing. Like vapour exhaled on a cold day, but a whole atmosphere respired. I drink it in deeply through my nostrils, all the nearest oxygen, all for me. I can see the river winding through to meet the tundra, or just about. I see it glinting in slithers. Over the millennia of that river's course, it will have snaked side to side like those sidewinders from the desert. The trees clambering up or falling with the soil torn from under their feet. And the trees growing, dying, falling, rotting, each to feed another in its place. And inside the forest, the light spills green through the leaves, like through coloured film, so that a light is green light on my arms and on my face. The smell of spruce and the spruce needles making the floor spongy like a play mat, and it is dry and comfortable so that you can lie down in it and breathe it in stronger. I lie down in it and just listen. Underneath the ground is the forest brain. Can you hear it thinking, ticking away? The root system to mushrooms, tiny threads of mycelium, 1 cell thick, branch out like neurons and link up to form a mat that lives underneath the forest and is miles long. The mycelium connects the tree's roots, giving them a larger surface area and a higher absorption rate of nutrients and minerals it breaks down with enzymes it excretes and reabsorbs from the soil. And in return, the trees give it metabolized carbohydrates, the fruits of photosynthesis. The tendrils of the mycelium are synapses, and through the mat information travels. The mycelium is thinking, and what it is thinking about is the long-term health. Of the life around it. It is a membrane, conscious and responsive to changes in its environment. It is planning for the long-term health of its environment. Mycelium is closely related to mould. Scientists did an experiment with a maze in a petri dish that they inoculated with slime mould. In the experiments, the slime mould kept on finding the very best and quickest ways for food at the end of the maze, avoiding dead ends. From this, they deduced that these half-animal plant life forms can be very, very clever. Mycelium has inherited the Earth several times over. It always surges after mass extinctions because it can metabolize and recycle the debris, and this gives it a niche over everything that can't. It makes life-sustaining soil out of this debris, and so lays the ground for other life to follow, initiating the ecosystems that will diversify its food chain. Is it manipulative and self-interested, or is it just lonely? You can't really say. Loneliness is a kind of self-interest anyway. Mycelium is a half-being, an in-between shapeshifter. It looks like a plant, but it breathes out carbon dioxide. It comes from the kingdom Eukarya, from which we branched hundreds of millions of years ago. Mycelia are more animal than plant, really, but they bridge the kingdoms like diplomatic interpreters. They translate between organisms and their environments. And mycelium is a seer into the spirit world, or into death. It transforms dead matter into something that can be metabolized. It turns the inorganic into organic, can dismantle chains that otherwise tangle, smoothing out the mess that might upset its system by processing pollutants and radiation. There are no clear polarities for mycelium, no life or death, no organic or non-organic. It is the dark matter of the organic world. Everything we know, like the world and the universe, is called baryonic matter, and this is made up of the atom. Dark matter does not emit or absorb light, but we think it exists until the Large Hadron Collider tells us so for sure, because there is something else that we can't see, exerting gravity on baryonic matter. We can't ever see it, so we know it almost intuitively, this strange dark thing. Computer simulations of what it might look like in physical show it as a web that interweaves the baryonic matter and connects everything in infinity like a connected tissue. Literally everything in this tangled web like sliding spaghetti. I am a strand being pulled through other strands of spaghetti, only the spaghetti is not a strand, it is an infinitely long piece tangled, a snake swallowing itself. The web-like brain pattern of the dark matter is an archetype found in places information is organised everywhere. It is the same shape you see in diagrams of mycelium, neurons, of the internet and the universe. Mushrooms at Fukushima are growing out of the contaminated forest. They are hyper-accumulating the radioactive waste out of the soil. They can be picked, burned, and ash can be put into glass. And then the radiation is only as difficult to dispose of as all the other nuclear waste we have bottled up. Perhaps the universe wants to help us to help ourselves. Perhaps it leaves us clues. The particular shape of the cloud from a nuclear blast is a dome on a column, is a mushroom. Lying on the forest floor at an ant or some small fast thing runs across my face and onto my lip, and it tickles, but I do not want to brush it off in case it gets crushed. I let it carry on, making a planet of my face, running all directions, acknowledging its contours, and using the information to paint itself a picture of my terrain, like the rover on Mars. Thank you.